back to the channel. I'm going to give you 7 tips that help you out for your European vacation. So come along and we're going to talk hop on, hop off buses, ho-ho buses in Europe. Are you getting ready to do European vacation? You're making all your plans. If you're anything like me, I did a lot of homework before I went to Europe. And one of the things is what were the sites I wanted to see? What are the sites you want to see? And when you're making these decisions, you've tried to figure out what is the best bang for your buck? What are you going to get to see the most of? And one of the things that helps out greatly in Europe is a hop-on, hop-off bus. Now, a hop-on, hop-off bus is also called a ho-ho bus in Europe. And by using a hop-on, hop-off bus, you can see a larger variety of things, especially when it's spread out, like something like Berlin or Rome, different areas that there's a lot to see in different areas. And by using a hop-on, hop-off bus, you can get to those locations without spending a lot of money. My husband and I last year went on a cruise for 40 days. That's right, 40 days. And it was crazy. It was the time of our life. It was my lifelong dream of being able to go to Europe. But when you're on a cruise ship, you pull into port, you can use the cruise ship tours, which generally cost a lot of money. Or you can do something like a hop-on, hop-off bus and go your own route and check things out. Most cities in Europe have hop-on, hop-off buses, and they get you in and around, and you get to see a lot in the time requirement for a cruise ship. Most of them sit out by the port. When you come out the exit, they will be sitting there. Generally, a couple different companies are there. Now, throughout the video, I'm going to talk about little tips that'll help you out for a hop-on, hop-off bus. Now, on a hop-on, hop-off bus, before you ever get on the bus, they have a map, and it will show you detailed 1, 2, 3 of where they're going to stop. Is it the places you want to stop at? Normally, the hop-on, hop-off buses stop at all the places that you want to see. So before you ever purchase your ticket, you can see if this is something you want. Or maybe it's not a big city and it's something that you can walk and do yourself. These are all decisions that you've got to make, mobility issues. Now, if you're limited mobility, a hop-on, hop-off bus is great because it can get you to these locations without walking a lot. Now, many of the hop-on, hop-off buses take credit cards and cash. But also, if you're on a cruise ship, many of them will have you show your room card off the cruise ship, have you sign it, and it goes straight onto your folio onto the cruise ship. So it's not something that you have to worry about pulling your credit card out, which is a neat idea if you're on a cruise ship, and it's less worry. You know that the cruise ship is handling the hop-on, hop-off buses. It's coming through to your folio. By the time you get back on the ship, you'll see the cost. And it's a great way to keep everything legit. Not saying that hop-on, hop-off buses aren't legit. It's just in case you have those worries. Now, on all ho-ho buses, they provide ear sets. And so there's a little jack that you can put your ear set into. And as you're on the bus, you can hear detailed information that they point out as you're doing your travels. One of the best places to be is the top deck. And that's just because if you're wanting to stand, take a picture, you can see some things, and you don't have the blockage of the glass. And it depends on the certain time of the years. If it's raining out, you want to be lower deck. Or if it's hot out and that sun's blaring down on you, there is part of the bus that is shaded. If it's hot out and you're down to that lower section, there is very limited air. So just think about it before you get on the bus. I always try to get to the top deck. Along with the ho-ho buses in Europe, places like Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Denmark, different places have hop-on, hop-off boats, canal tours. And that's another great way to get around and see the things that you want to see. Now, generally what I will do, if we have enough time, I will take the ho-ho bus completely around and see all the sights. Then get off where you know where the little town's at, then you can get off there and then you can go spend the afternoon and have lunch, see the town. In Helsinki, Finland, we took the ho-ho bus. Then we got to the area where the shore is at. We took a boat over to Suomenlinna Island, then got back on the bus, and then it took us back to the ship. Most of the ho-ho buses will go in a regular route. You want to get on the bus, and then you want to make sure that all these little stops, that you have plenty of time, that if you've got stops before the cruise ship or wherever your location is, that you've got plenty of time to get back to that ship or to the location that you need to get back at. They're not going to take you directly back. You also want to know how long it takes to get around, to get you back to your cruise ship or back to the location you need to get to. Let's just say if you were in Berlin and you got off at Brandenburg Gate and you spent X amount of time at the gate. And then you walked over to the Holocaust Memorial, and now you've got to get to that bus. You've got to make sure that you set your time accordingly, that you can get to the bus, and then once you get on that bus, that you're going to make it around to get to the port or whatever location you're trying to get to. Many people that do the land tours and not any kind of cruises, this is one way of getting around. Now, we were in Porto, Portugal, and nearly missed our ship, and so it can happen. We happened to, on our European trip, it seemed like everywhere we went to, taxi cab drivers were on strike. By them being on strike, there were more people in the ho-ho buses and there were more people out driving. And so there was a lot of traffic jams. So it took us quite some time to get back to the cruise ship. Luckily, there was about 40 people that were on these ho-ho buses and weren't able to get back to the cruise ship, and they held it for us. If it was just 2 people, they're not going to hold it for you. But when you're missing that many, they will hold it for you. I'm not saying always, but most of the time. Now, going back to deciding if you're going to take the ho-ho bus or not. If you get into something like Tallinn, Estonia, there's not really a need for a ho-ho bus. If you're on a cruise ship, you can walk to Tallinn and you can walk through the little town, and it works great. The ho-ho buses do not go into Tallinn, the old town. They will go on the outskirts to the bigger cities, but they will not do Old Town. There is a little choo-choo train that will take you inside. Because these streets are so small, they can't get the buses, nor do the people want those big buses through there. So that's one of the things you need to think about. If it's a small town, ho-ho buses are not going to go into those little areas. Now, when we were in Lisbon, Portugal, it's one of those things where they do have a ho-ho bus, but then they don't take you into the smaller towns, the little street. What my husband and I ended up doing is we did the ho-ho bus, and then we ended up purchasing a tuk-tuk driver to get us in and around the smaller parts of town that they couldn't get the hop-on, hop-off buses into those locations. So these are things that you need to think about. Motorized tuk-tuks are awesome. They're fun. They're individual. You're not with a bunch of people. So I highly suggest doing something like that, at least experimenting in different things for your travels. Kick it up a notch. Now in Rome, a ho-ho bus works out great. And by taking the ho-ho bus the first day, if you happen to be there a couple days, you can get a general layout of the area. And that's another thing, is if you're going to be in an area, take a tour on a ho-ho bus and you can figure out the layout of the town. Then you feel comfortable getting off, walking around. You have a general idea of where you're at, what's north, south, and how you're going to get back to your hotel room. And that's one of the neat things about ho-ho buses. You can purchase the ticket, day or 2-day tickets. You can use it to get around and at least get your bearings of where you're at, and then you can work from there. Another great thing for ho-ho buses is families. We all know if you have kids, grandkids, they eventually just get sick and tired of walking. They get worn out. You get worn out pushing them around, trying to lug them around. So a ho-ho bus is another option inexpensively that you can tour these things and see without always carrying your kids on a backpack or pushing a stroller or holding hands and your kids are just done with the day. So I highly suggest a ho-ho bus for kids. So quickly going over a few tips. Tip 1, if you're at a cruise port, you're getting off the ship, they are always outside the port. And all you've got to do is get off, pay cash, credit card, sign it to your folio, and you have no worries. Tip 2, they have maps. So before you ever sign, get on and pay, you can decide if you want to do a ho-ho bus or not. Tip 3, they are great if you're in a big area and you want to see a lot and it's spread out. So by all means, get a ho-ho bus. They're inexpensive. You can see a lot. Tip 4, they all have earpieces so you can listen to all the vital information and history in the area you're at. Tip 5, always when you get off your ho-ho bus, figure out where the sign's at and where you need to come back to get onto the ho-ho bus. Tip 6, the biggest tip of all, make sure when you do take a ho-ho bus and you're looking and you're seeing your sights and you're enjoying yourself, that you have enough time to get on that ho-ho bus and make it back to your cruise ship or whatever location you need to get to. And tip 7, remember to have fun. Remember, you're all tourists. You're all out there wanting to see everything, and they're going to be a little pushy and there might be a little lines, but you're all dealing and experiencing the same thing, and you're wanting to have fun and enjoy your vacation. I hope this video helps you enjoy your European vacation and answers a couple questions about hop-on, hop-off buses. Enjoy your vacation, enjoy your adventure. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. And if you want to be notified for future videos, ring the bell.